This wonderful session is called Elite Employers, what employers in Michigan are doing to implement reform. So these are the folks that are living and breathing reform in their companies daily, and we have a nice wide variety of employers for you. Moderating this session is Rick Blanchard. He's the managing editor of Corp magazine, a sister company of ours. And Rick has been in the industry for many, many years and came to us from the Detroit newspaper where he was business editor. But more importantly, he is responsible for Corp magazine's entire editorial content for both print, digital, and online. So without further ado, Rick, welcome.
Hello, everybody. This is not a session about the ref calls on U of M game last night, but we're talking about healthcare. Glad everybody could make it. This is a great gathering, and thanks, Jennifer, for the introduction, and the previous section was great. We have great panelists today for our session, and what Jennifer just said, elite employers, what are they doing in Michigan to implement reform? That's a very, very hard road for a lot of businesses in the state and across the country. I'd like to introduce our panelists. We have Vano. She manages human resource capabilities, strategies, and operations for St. John Providence Health System. Next we have Ronia Kruse. She is the CEO of OpTech, an award-winning information technology and engineering talent and solutions provider. And then at the end, near the edge of the stage, be careful not to fall.
Very, very near.
You want to scoot in?
We have Linnea Bernardo from Valassis Communications. Linnea oversees innovative total rewards programs at Valassis, including all compensation and benefits programs, as well as HR compliance. And here we go. We'll, of course, pause periodically for your questions, and hope everybody, don't be afraid to ask a question. You can break, no problem. Okay, bear with me real quickly. This is directed to the entire panel, and we'd like to start with Linnea. What is the biggest obstacle facing your business in relation to implementing healthcare reform?
Okay, I think for us, it's probably the same for just about everybody in the room. Is this healthcare reform obviously is a very complicated bill or law that is going to be happening. And what for us in particular, understanding all of the elements of it and how it affects our associate population is huge. We have a team, a benefit team, that is somewhat limited in resources, probably not unlike all of you. And the amount of work that needs to be done to really do a full assessment and make sure that you're making the right decisions for your organization, it takes a tremendous amount of time. And as new information is released, really pretty much daily, we're really trying to stay on top of that and make sure that we share whatever information we can, especially with our HR team, so that they're aware of what's going on, because they have a lot of questions. And as much as we can, be able to answer associate questions as well.
Ryan, go ahead.
Yeah, I ditto that. Quite honestly, the bill is very, very complicated. It's a moving target. I attended a conference last year, and they were presenting the bill and some of the provisions and how it affect businesses. And the stack of paper was literally this thick. And I turned over and I gave it to my HR people, and they worked with our attorneys and our administrators to really get our arms around the bill and see how it affects our business and how it affects our employees. It is very complicated. Planning is key. It is key to attend events like this to really get a really good understanding of how the bill, affects your business. Sorry. So again, the administration is going to be the next big challenge, but really understanding the various components is very, very complicated, and it is important that you engage the right people to help you navigate through the bill.
Well, at St. John, Providence, we have 18,000 associates, and we're part of a national corporation, Ascension Health, which has over 100,000 associates throughout the country. And we are fortunate that we do have some resources at a national level to guide us. But we, even for as large as we are still struggling to really understand the player pay rules from the IRS, understanding who is a full-time employee, and the periods. Our benefits team is really challenged to understand the stability period and the measurement period and the administrative period, and to be able to explain that to all of us as we make various decisions on this journey. The other thing that's become somewhat evident to us is that we have information systems that we're not sure are configured in a way to house all of this data and pull things retrospectively. And how do we build that capability with our information systems and our information partners moving forward, so that as the bill gets implemented, we're not doing things in a manual way. So with the moving target, we think we have an answer, and then we find out that an interpretation has changed. So I think the other challenge is really keeping your staff informed and your leaders informed, and an element of agility that this is still in process, and it is a journey that we are all on.
All right. I think that's a very good point about the administration and the communication and using existing software. If nothing else, the ACA will incubate a lot of new businesses to get this thing done. Okay. Second question: are any of you planning on dropping coverage completely for your employees? It's directed to Ann, then Ronia, then Linnea.
We are not planning on dropping coverage for any of our employees. As I mentioned, our parent organization, Ascension Health, is a national organization. We're the largest healthcare provider in the country, and we are sponsored by the Catholic Church. Why I can so definitely say no is because we were and continue to be very supportive of the healthcare reform in order to provide access and coverage to everyone. And so we are definitely at this time not planning on dropping coverage.
We've always offered health care to our employees since day one, and that's not going to change. We feel very strongly that everyone is entitled to health care, and that's not going to change. Even though our rates might go up, we will continue to offer health care benefits. It's one of the tools we use to attract the best and brightest people.
And for us, it really is about being an employer of choice. Attracting and retaining associates is hugely important to us. Definitely appealing to that top talent out there, not only in Michigan, but we actually operate in 23 different states across the country, which makes us very complex, I might add. And we did do some calculations. If we were to drop coverage, we would pay $8.4 million alone in penalties. And then on top of that, we would feel the need to give people enough money to purchase healthcare coverage through the exchanges. And at this point, I don't think that anybody knows if it will be cheaper for employers to do that at some point in time. So for right now, we have no plans to drop coverage. If in the future that is advantageous and we can make it beneficial for our associates, we may consider that at a future date, but right now we do not plan on doing that.
I would think that the factor of culture, workplace culture, is huge in the decision whether to keep coverage or not. Think about that when you answer this question. Let's follow up. Are you planning on changing work hours or flex time policies for your employees to negate the negative impact on your businesses, your organizations, no reform? Any changes to that plan? And then Ronia, then Linnea.
Well, we're trying to assess what is our associates are actually working. We have, as I said, 17,000 associates in Southeast Michigan. 12,000 are full-time, about 3,000 are part-time, and another 2,000 are what we call PRN, or they work as needed. So we are trying to look at historically what have they actually worked to see if they are working under the new definition to qualify to be full-time. So we need an understanding of that. Excuse me. And I think we're not talking about changing policies. Sure. We're not talking about changing policies, but we are trying to understand how we're scheduling our workforce, and then moving forward, and if they're full-time, ensuring that they are working more than 30 hours, and if they're part-time or contingent, that they're working less than 30 hours. But this will be potentially a significant change as people have worked to provide coverage for 24 hours, 7-day-a-week shift coverage. So we have a lot to learn here about what people are actually working.
We've always provided flexible work arrangements, and that's not going to change with this Reform Act. We'll continue to offer the flexible work schedule. And my understanding is staffing firms are not considered variable hour employers anyway. So we will continue doing what we do, and nothing is going to change with respect to implementing the Health Reform Act.
For us, we're actually very fortunate because of our just over 4,200 associates in the U.S. Only about 125 of those are part-time today. And we currently define full-time as 37.5 hours or greater. So we are going to make the switch and move our full-time status to 30 hours or greater. And right now, we only have 25 people that are actually falling in that realm of 30 to 37.5 hours. We're going to have to, we actually offer them coverage today. We actually charge them a different premium. So we're going to have to treat them like we would, the rest of the group. So the impact to us is very minimal. We also offer a lot of flex time schedules, and we do not anticipate changing those.
Okay. Alrighty. On the same subject, will the ACA impact your ability to hire new employees or start any new initiatives in your firms? Or maybe you've already made the decision not to start an initiative already in anticipation of the changes. This is directed to Linnea.
Sure. We don't really expect any impacts to hiring as a result of ACA at this point. If anything, I think as employers maybe decide to drop coverage, it may make us look a little bit more attractive in the marketplace. What we are more concerned about is, every year when we go in and have our renewal discussions with our CEO and our CFO, is that because of this law and the additional money that we're going to have to spend, it's that we're not going to have money for other programs that we would like to fund. So we, typically try to do something each year to add something or improve something for our associates, and I do have concerns that that's not going to be able to continue.
Okay. Are there any questions at this point out there from the audience before we move on? All right. Okay, the fourth question we have today is directed to Ronia, then Ann. Will your company face any of the penalties, and how are you coping? Also, will you need to adjust hour shifts? How will this impact your flex time and part-time schedules?
Okay. We looked at the bill, and we engaged our legal counsel as well as our HR department administrators in determining whether we were compliant with the rules, and they broke it down very detailed. And we found that, one, we offer healthcare coverage day one. We cover the majority of the premiums for our employees. We offer numerous plans that meet the requirements for the Reform Act. We offer preventive care to our employees, And at this point, we are not facing any additional, taxes or penalties. We don't anticipate anything. Not to mention, as I stated previously, that we believe that everybody is entitled to health care. We cover 100% of our employees, and we will continue to do that because in this market where talent is scarce, this is one way to give us an edge up on attracting the best talent in the market.
We did the same assessment. The plans, first day coverage, preventive services. So we are fairly confident we don't face penalties as we currently understand it. And we also currently already offer some associates a health subsidy if they meet the federal poverty guidelines. And so we will continue in terms of attracting talent to offer that to ensure that people who work for us have access to coverage that is affordable.
Okay. Oh, okay. Great.
Hello, Bill Galvin. I'm an insurance agent, and I'm really interested in employers' best practices, and I appreciate your comments. I'm hearing you say things like employers of choice, talent scarcity. Do you feel that going forward you're going to be able to attract people due to a moral obligation or more of a legal obligation? Relative to employee attraction and retention, which has always been the historical basis of benefits.
I guess I can address that. Typically, the individuals that we attract and we're trying to recruit for are IT and engineering talent. Wow, somebody has a really loud telephone. And typically, their average salaries are about $83,000. These are people that are highly sought after. Individuals that are scarce. And so in terms of, there is a moral obligation, clearly. We strongly feel that everybody should be entitled to health care, no matter what. In addition, we offer a very rich benefit package to attract the talent. And so that's not going to change. In fact, we're going to enhance what we offer to our employees to continue to attract the talent that we're looking for.
I would agree. For us, I think, the majority of our associates are offered health insurance today, and we don't really see that changing, whether we purchase it for them through the exchanges or we offer it ourselves. Being an employer of choice, that is a decision we've made, and for us, attraction and retention is huge. We want that top talent to move us forward. We have a brand new vision within our company, and we're kind of turning the ship a little bit, and it's very important to us to have the right people in place to make that vision a reality.
Okay. Any other questions right now out there?
May I ask a question?
Sure.
I'm just out of curiosity. How many individuals in the room are considered a large employer? Okay. So really the challenge is for those with 50 employees or less, it's very costly, and it is more difficult to implement some of the items that we're talking about to attract that talent, and it is costly. The lower the salary is, the bigger chunk of it goes toward health care. And so it is going to be a major issue for you. And for us, like I mentioned before, we're dealing with professionals. Their salaries on average are about $83,000. So really, and we cover the majority of the premiums. We subsidize pretty heavily. But for a lot of the smaller firms, this is a major issue, and obviously nothing is concrete. However, we're hoping that you will not be penalized severely for offering the health care, and perhaps implementing more preventive measures to make it more attractive to attract the right talent. But I know this is a major concern, and I'm not sure in terms of the average salaries that you typically employ, whether we're in the same ballpark. I'm not sure if we've looked at that.
The majority of our associates definitely make enough to not have to worry about hitting that poverty level calculation. But we do have some in our manufacturing world that are probably right on the bubble. So we definitely are, taking a look at those, and, we're going to probably have some change in our strategy around associate premiums in order to make sure that, that coverage is affordable for those individuals moving forward.
This next question is kind of taking a look at the interplay between CEO and HR departments. If I were a business owner, I would be so glad to have an HR department right now I could hand it off to. We'll start this question with Ronia as the CEO, and so she'll give the CEO perspective. From a C-suite perspective, have you had a dialogue with in your case, your HR people, regarding reform and the financial impact of implementing, and what are those conversations like? Just kind of bring us inside those crucial conversations.
Okay. I think planning, preparation is really important, in communication. Obviously what we do is we try to attract talent, so giving our people the knowledge to speak to about the Health Reform Act when they're recruiting individuals. Because a lot of individuals I shouldn't say a lot, but some people do turn down healthcare coverage looking for a higher salary, for example, and really being able to communicate the effects of not being covered under our plan. That's one. The cost from a back office standpoint, trying to get our arms around our systems, making sure that we're tracking the cost properly and that we're compliant, that's really where most of the cost is going to lie. And we're going to evaluate, to continue to be an attractive employer of choice, whether we want to make a greater contribution toward additional programs to attract the talent. So we're looking at those as well.
Yeah.
Well, our conversations are somewhat similar. The challenge for us is the conversation around, as a healthcare provider, that as part of the support for the healthcare reform, the healthcare industry made a decision to accept declining reimbursements from Medicare. And the offset was that the states would create the Medicaid expansion and the viable exchanges. And with this not moving through the Michigan legislature right now, we are concerned about the impact to our organization from a financial perspective. So we're comfortable with what we're providing to our associates, but the conversation is, stepping back a little bit and looking at, from a business perspective and a provider, what it could mean to us and the financial constraints it could force on the providers.
Yeah, and we've had several communications with our CEO and CFO in several meetings, and also with our general counsel around healthcare reform, the impacts, kind of our philosophy around it, and most importantly, really those financial impacts, especially when you're talking to the CFO. We have estimated what it's going to cost. We've had to do that several times now, and we are actually in the process of sending another update with clarity around the reinsurance fees that are out there, which for us is probably going to be the biggest impact in terms of cost. So regular communication with that C-suite is extremely important.
Okay. Going on, what are the best practices or mistakes you can share with us that you have learned in regard to your business and reform? Any specific examples of your lessons you've learned? Start with Ann, then Linnea.
Well, this is so early in the journey, I'm not sure that we have any best practices yet. Some things that I think have worked for us is that this is not a HR issue. I would encourage everyone to make sure that you're having conversations with really all the right people at the table, whether that is, depending on how your organization is structured, certainly the C-suite, legal services. We have found great value in working with our reimbursement team, as well as our budget team. And for a Catholic healthcare organization, it also includes conversations with our ethicists and our sponsors. So I think the conversations need to be very holistic in terms of who's at the table, because while the talent part is important, there are business obligations or business impacts. And if your philosophy is that you feel a moral obligation to provide health care as we do, then there are many constituents that need to be engaged in the conversations.
And I would agree. We have actually built a team, not only of people within HR, but people from our finance area, from legal, from payroll, because there's so many people that are impacted and so many departments that are impacted as a result of healthcare reform. For us, I will say, having regular updates with our field HR group, because obviously they're getting questions from our associates on, what's this all about? When are we going to hear about it? So the more that we can keep them informed, so as we know things, we try to inform them so that they're able to answer at least some of the associate questions that are coming in. So communication really is key, and definitely getting the right players at the table is huge for this.
Have you, just following up here, have you added people to your communications part of that to facilitate this? Or?
When you say added people over the team I just spoke about, yeah. So our typical HR communications would normally be funneled out through HR alone, but we also have a large Spanish-speaking population, especially in our manufacturing areas, and we do have one office that a lot of our associates speak Punjabi. So we really need a lot of people at the table that can help us get the word out, if you will. And again, we're in 23 states, so it adds a lot of complexity for us. So really that education, communication piece is going to be huge for us. So yes, we have expanded who we would normally include in some of these decisions and planning around that.
Which is another cost. Yeah, all right. Any questions from the audience at this point? Anybody out there? Right.
My name's Lynette Wersner, and I'd like to know when you plan to communicate these changes and plans, if any, to the staff, and how you're going to do that.
For us, I mean, as soon as we get information, we've been communicating it. The required communication that I think was due in March that got delayed, that'll be huge for all of us once the information comes out on exactly what that communication needs to say. So for us, it's really an ongoing thing.
For our organization, we're trying to use existing communication channels to push information out. So we, at this point, haven't created anything special for the delivery of the communication.
With respect to us, all the executive team and the administrators were well informed about this bill. However, getting the message across to our employees, we have not formulated any kind of communication. We're not going to be impacted until open enrollment, which is November of 2014. So we'll make sure that we communicate way in advance so we can plan properly and our employees can plan properly.
Question down here.
Yes, my name's Wendy Passer. I'm just curious. You had mentioned that you're going to be adding, or you're looking into and envisioning adding some additional services and programs for your employees to keep them, attract them. Could you describe what those types of programs will look like? And yeah, just that.
Some of the things that we do internally, we provide fresh fruit, in terms of healthy choices for eating. We offer, we cover the gym membership for employees. We have programs, walks, 5Ks that we support. We are implementing, some rewards for stop smoking, some casual walks, things of those nature, just to be more preventive in terms of preventive care and offer some healthy, healthy programs for our employees. I know I'm probably missing some, but, I'm sure I have somebody in the back that if I'm missing any of those items, she can speak to that point.
Yeah, anybody else?
We're doing similar things. We're looking at really some more casual type things. Like this week, we're having a walk with executives. So we've mapped out a route on some of our campuses, and so to try and demonstrate the behaviors of being healthy. That's really where our focus is on wellness and improving health of our associates. So we're starting it with some casual things. As I said, this week we're doing a walk with executives. We're looking at some activities for Bring Your Child to Work Day later in the month of April that will incorporate some of the wellness components as well. So we're trying to do things, again, as I said, through existing programs that, or forums that we have.
And we've tried to do the same thing. This year we launched a year-long wellness journey for our associates. And the first leg of that journey is a weight loss challenge against our executive level team. And lucky for all of us, they're not as motivated as they should be. So I think we're going to beat them. So that's good, because if we beat them, we get an extra half a day off, which is a lot of fun. And then we're going to segue into a walking challenge for the mid part of the year. And we are doing some things around stress relief. And in the fall, we're actually preparing for, and we're going to actually do 5Ks at all of our locations.
So some of the other things, as you were talking about that we've done, is we've brought Weight Watchers on site to provide weight loss program that people can attend during their lunch hour. We've brought, we have a alternative medicine division, so we have brought them over to do stress relief or Tai Chi classes at lunches as well. So trying to use things that as a healthcare provider that we have access to, but also reaching out to established programs such as Weight Watchers in the community, and then bringing that in to help promote wellness right during working hours.
Well, you reminded me of a couple of things that we did too. I believe we did Weight Watchers, and we also brought masseuse to the office, and we had spa day, and we also offer golf lessons too. So all those things, and then we do casual walks from work, and we are buying a few bikes so that people can take rides during lunchtime. So
that's great. Another question right here.
Just to continue on what Wendy wanted to know is if you're offering any type of supplemental products, programs as well.
Like health insurance, supplement products that the exchange might not cover. Are you looking into supplemental types of benefits and programs as well? What the exchange might not cover, or the, I guess, morphing of your existing health care or your health insurance plans, looking into other kinds of supplemental health-related benefits that are not part of the existing health insurance that you have presently.
Our focus is on enhancing our wellness program. We aren't looking at supplemental.
we offer gym memberships. So does that answer your question? Outside of, or?
Are you thinking like critical illness type programs?
We have a tremendous amount of offerings today for our associates, and we're always looking at new opportunities. We don't have anything right now in the works, but if you were to look at what we offer today, I think we have probably almost everything covered out there in terms of products that we either offer paid for our associates or that they can purchase on their own through a group discount. So as of right now, we don't have anything new that we're looking into.
There was another question back.
Good morning. Thanks for sharing. I'm Randy Hoover. I'm a health insurance broker here in southeastern Michigan. And without mentioning the names of your carriers, that's irrelevant. I just want to know, beyond the reinsurance taxes, one of you referenced earlier, have you quantified the plan design changes that may be coming? I know one of you have a fall of 14 renewal, so it's maybe not on the front burner, but beyond the reinsurance tax implications and perhaps rate band compression with your carriers, have you assessed the potential impact, positive or negative, that health insurance reform is going to have on your group rates?
We are self-insured, and so, I mean, we're trying to do an assessment, but we don't have an external in terms of the health carrier, commercial insurance.
Yeah, and us too. We're still in the assessment phase. I don't even think we know everything there is out there yet in terms of increases, especially via our carriers, because obviously they're going to be paying things on our behalf because we are self-insured as well. And I'm sure there probably will be a little spike in administrative fees as a result of that, but we've not had those conversations yet.
We're in the same line as well. We're just assessing right now the impact.
Any more questions at this point? A couple more questions up here. All right. This kind of dovetails, I believe, to the next question. And before we move on, I want to, did I hear golf lessons were offered?
You did. Golf lessons.
Boss? Okay. All right. This is a tough question, and I don't know if you can talk about it in terms of percentages or however, and if you think the question doesn't work, please tell me. Can you walk us through your estimation of how much money will be spent and how much might be saved with your plans for reform? Tough one. Let's start with Linnea.
I'm the lucky person that
Yeah.
gets to go first. You know, again, we're still in the assessment phase, so there's some things around maybe premium adjustments that we don't know the full implication of yet. However, the things that we do know today, including the CER fee and the reinsurance fee, and some of the services that we're covering now, especially in the realm of women's preventative care that maybe we didn't cover in the past, we are estimating that it's going to cost about $650,000 to $700,000 in 2014 as a result of those alone. So, it's very impactful.
Any savings that you see in there?
Not a one.
Okay. All right, just had to ask.
If anybody has any, would they let me know?
Yeah. We're not seeing any savings. We're anticipating an increase of costs because some individuals that are turning down health care right now, we're going to have to obviously cover, subsidize additional individuals. And then any increase in taxes or what have you, we've absorbed that in the past. So I'm not seeing any savings at this point.
Okay.
We're in the same boat. We are doing the assessment. We have the reassessment cost we know will be upwards of $1.5 million for our organization, and the rest of it we're still assessing, but we don't see any savings.
Okay. You've kind of addressed this last question it's about concerns that you would have with your employees and what their questions are to you. And you sound like you're all doing really great moves to make sure your employees are informed, communicated with, you're offering new programs. So I have personally, it seems like your concerns are right out there, which is great. What are the kind of questions you're getting from your employers? Are there anything you'd like to share about, maybe someone's come up and hey, how am I going to cover this? What should I do? Is there any anecdotal examples you'd like to share?
Well,
Ian, go ahead.
I can start. There was a lot of interest and a lot of questions originally, especially when the coverage expanded to children to age 26. We were flooded with questions, and we picked up over 750 additional dependents. at that time. Since then, I would say that the questions have really diminished, but the interest is really around an understanding of the exchanges and what it means for an associate. So we, being in the state of Michigan, can't quite answer what the offerings might be through the exchanges for them at this point. But I think that the conversation has somewhat quieted from the initial passage and then from the Supreme Court ruling. So it's quiet in our environment right now.
I would tell you that we've had the same experience. Obviously when we added dependents up to age 26, there were a lot of questions. Since then, I think people are really just interested in knowing if it would be cheaper for them to purchase in the exchange, and obviously we don't have that information today. And we've had to, because we've had very rich benefit plans in the past, over the past few years since this legislation came out, we started trying to pull back our plans so that we weren't going to trip that Cadillac tax in 2018. So unfortunately, in some ways, we feel like it's handcuffed us from doing what we really want to do for our associates. But we've had to make some decisions, and so they've seen the result of that already. There's some, they've gotten a little bit more in terms of cost share than they've had in the past. So they just want to know really what it's going to be, year over year, what it's going to look like when these exchanges are open, and if it would be cheaper for them in the exchange.
Ronia?
Quite honestly, right now, the biggest, all the communication is really internally, really understanding the bill and the impact to our organization, but not necessarily from our employees, because we haven't changed the way we offer health care. So, we were hit with the tax and we absorbed the tax. So from their standpoint, they haven't seen anything change. I'm sure that once we, next year, once we start, kind of pushing the communication down to our employees and our recruiters, there's going to be greater discussions as to the impact and whether they should go to the exchange, which, is a moving target. We really don't know what to expect from that. But again, our plans are rich, but not too rich where we're, going to be hit with any penalties. And we don't anticipate anything changing from that standpoint, and we typically cover the majority of their premiums. So I don't anticipate that anything would be negative, and I truly believe that what we're able to offer will probably be more attractive in the exchange. So, but I guess time will tell.
Okay, any other questions out there? We have some time, so feel free to ask questions of our panelists. No question? I have a question. On a broad question, as an overview. With my work with Corp, one of the topics that always comes up is the difficulty attracting talent and retaining talent. And I think the fortunate thing about the ACA is that it's applied to all the states. It's not just Michigan. Unfortunately, Michigan is, it kind of leads the way in the economic depression and hopefully economic recovery. How do you see this impacting Michigan's economy? And you could talk with your businesses, 5 years from now, will we be settled out? Will you realize any savings, or will it balance with your employees? It's just an open question, basically. So start with Linnea and come this way.
Wow.
Sorry.
I guess the answer is I really don't know. And I'm not sure that anybody up here is going to be able to really predict. It is difficult, obviously, in the state of Michigan, where our economy hasn't recovered as quickly as perhaps some of the other states. I wish I knew. I really don't have an answer for that.
Anything specifically for your organization that you think would be a positive or negative for it? In terms of talent?
Well, for us, I think if we continue to follow the path that we have followed, which is to try to be an employer of choice and offer programs that are, you know, better than what is offered in the federal exchanges, I think that will be a win for us in attracting talent, in addition to everything else we do to attract talent. You know, we have many programs, and, you know, a lot of our compensation programs are attractive, and there's different things that we do to attract. You know, healthcare is just one of many. So we would definitely continue down that path to try to attract that top talent in the future and retain it.
This could be a whole program in itself. So, you know, I had the pleasure of participating in the Governor's Summit, and there is quite a disconnect between a lot of employers that can't find the talent, and there's still so many people that are unemployed, and trying to bridge the gap. And obviously that's what we do. We find talent, and we're always coming up with ways to attract that talent, but really you can't just produce them. You gotta, you know, find them from either companies within organizations within Michigan, outside of Michigan. I'm a strong believer in a long-term strategy and working with the colleges and universities to identify that talent, provide them the training so that, because they're gonna be our workforce of tomorrow. In addition to, you know, we have issues with our immigration policies in terms of, you know, being able to attract that talent, and I believe that everybody is on the same page that whatever city, state, country can attract this talent will experience economic growth. So this is a major issue for Michigan in terms of trying to retain the talent that they have here. There's a lot of individuals that are underemployed or need to be retooled. So really training programs, working with our colleges and universities, we'll continue to do that to attract the talent and continue to offer a lot of the benefits and the, you know, the attractive compensation, the great environment to work in, of course, you know, a very rich benefit package in general to try to attract the talent. But it is an issue that everybody has to work toward to try to attract that talent into Michigan versus many other states or countries.
Well, I was, you know, none of us, if we had a crystal ball, boy, it'd be wonderful to see the future. So in terms of the ACA, you know, just am not sure that we can answer the question on what it will look like 5 years from now. Talent, as Ronia has indicated, is so important. We are working with some department-sponsored and initiative-sponsored by the governor as well to really connect what employers in healthcare are looking for and what the colleges and community colleges are producing. And so in terms of talent, it's really getting the resources public policy-wise and influence in various forums to have there be alignment between what we're looking for in information technology and in manufacturing and healthcare, so that we can continue to be, you know, viable employers. As an employer, you can, you know, we offer many benefits that are very rich. We see that by the number of working spouses that don't elect to take benefits at their employers. They take them through St. John Providence. So we know we have an attractive benefit program. But the recession, bringing back the jobs, is really a rematch and a realignment, I think, of the talent needs, what we need, and what the universities and community colleges are producing.
Thank you. Any other questions out there from the audience? We have a couple minutes here. All righty. Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure. The panel has been great.
Thank you, everyone. All right, just to real briefly answer that last question, as far as the Michigan Business and Professional Association goes, unfortunately, our members will be most critically impacted by healthcare reform. It will most likely cause a negative impact here on the Michigan economy. And we don't have any predictions on what those exact numbers look like, but many economists are predicting at a federal level another recession beginning in 2014 through mid-15. So I don't know if you're in the loop on that and if you're watching the economists and all these predictions, but a lot of it does coincide with healthcare reform. So we're here to help you. We're here to help you get through this. The biggest brunt of that is going to be on employers with less than 100 employees. So we've been very diligent in providing as many tools, resources, and customized services to help you minimize as much negative impact as possible. So what we're going to be doing next is we're going to be having a little networking break. Everyone's going to be out in the hallway. We're going to open up these doors, and we're going to be going into the room next to us for our lunch first. And then we have our expert roundtable where we have our experts from across the country that are national healthcare reform experts to answer any and all of your questions. So we don't want anybody here leaving today without their questions answered and their implementation questions answered. So if you have a specific issue going on or a challenge going on, I want you to present it to these experts, and then our team's going to be listening as well to see what we can do to help you not only today but throughout the year. So we're adjourned now. Thanks again to this panel. Thank you so much. Thank you.